It was past midnight when the rain began to pour, washing the empty streets in silver streaks of light. The city was quiet except for the hum of distant traffic and the occasional flash of headlights slicing through the wet darkness. Inside a small apartment at the edge of town, Ethan Cole, a 34-year-old single father, was trying to lull his 6-year-old daughter, Maya, to sleep. Her fever had finally started to settle after hours of restlessness, and he sat beside her, stroking her hair, whispering softly until her breathing slowed. He hadn't eaten all day. He hadn't even finished the delivery reports that his boss had demanded by the next morning. But none of that mattered. Maya was everything. And that night, Ethan had no idea that within the next few hours, his life would take a turn he could never have imagined. By the time Maya was asleep, the clock showed 12:47 a.m. Ethan dragged himself to the small desk near the window and reopened his laptop. His boss, Clara Hastings, the regional manager of a marketing firm, was known for being fierce, precise, and intimidatingly perfect. She didn't tolerate mistakes, delays, or excuses, and Ethan, though hardworking and loyal, was already on thin ice after missing work several times due to Maya's frequent illnesses. He respected Clara, even admired her work ethic, but he also feared her. To her, emotions were distractions, and personal struggles didn't count as valid reasons for failure. Ethan sighed and began typing, determined to finish before dawn. His phone buzzed just as he was reviewing the last section of the report. It was nearly 2 a.m. The name flashing on the screen made him frown. Clara Hastings. He hesitated. Why would she call him at this hour? He answered cautiously, but what came through wasn't her usual crisp tone. It was chaos. Shaky breathing. Slurred words. The sound of loud music in the background. Ethan. I think I made a mistake, she mumbled. Then a man's voice yelled something crude in the background, followed by a loud thud. The line went dead. Ethan froze. His instincts screamed at him to stay out of it. She was his boss, this wasn't his business. But then, another thought cut through. What if she was in real danger? He quickly traced the location of the call using an app the company used for team coordination. It pointed to a bar on the outskirts of downtown, the Redwood Lounge. Without wasting another second, he threw on his jacket, called his neighbor to check on Maya if she woke up, and ran out into the rain. When he reached the bar, the place was half shuttered, neon lights flickering, and a small group of men were lingering near the entrance. One of them, broad-shouldered and unsteady, was dragging someone by the arm. It was Clara. Her elegant suit jacket was soaked, her hair disheveled, and her expression dazed with fear. Let her go. Ethan shouted, rushing forward. The man sneered, muttering something about her having too much fun to stop now. Ethan didn't think. He acted. He shoved the man away and pulled Clara behind him. The confrontation turned messy fists, shouting, broken glass. By the time security arrived, Ethan had a split lip, and Clara was shaking but unharmed. He guided her to his car, covering her with his jacket as she slumped in the passenger seat, murmuring apologies she could barely form. He drove her home, made sure she drank water, and left her safely inside her apartment before heading back to check on Maya. It was 4:30 a.m. when he finally sat beside his sleeping daughter again, exhaustion pressing heavy on his chest. He had saved his boss from something that could have ruined her, or worse, but he knew tomorrow would come with questions. And maybe consequences. The next morning, Ethan woke late to the sound of his phone buzzing again. It was a text from Clara. Come to my office. Immediately. His heart sank. He couldn't tell whether she remembered what had happened or if she thought he'd crossed a line. He got Maya ready for school, kissed her forehead, and walked to work with a tightness in his stomach that refused to ease. When he entered the office, Clara was there, standing by the window. She looked different, softer, quieter. Gone was the usual sharpness in her tone. Her eyes, usually unreadable, carried something he hadn't seen before: vulnerability. Ethan, she said softly, I remember everything. For a second, he didn't know what to say. She turned to him, her voice trembling slightly. You saved me. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't come. He shook his head. You don't need to thank me, ma'am. Anyone would have done the same. But she stared at him like she knew that wasn't true. No, she whispered, most people wouldn't have risked their job for a boss who's made their life miserable. Her honesty surprised him. For the first time since he'd known her, the armor of professionalism around her had cracked, revealing something human. She asked him to sit, and for the next few minutes, the silence between them felt strangely heavy but not uncomfortable. Over the following days, Clara's demeanor changed. She began asking about Maya, occasionally bringing small gifts or leaving early so Ethan could pick his daughter up on time. It confused him. This was the same woman who once scolded him for being 10 minutes late. But slowly, he realized she wasn't trying to repay him with favors, she was trying to understand him. One afternoon, as they worked late in the quiet office, Clara asked, "You raise Maya alone?" Ethan nodded. Her mom passed away when Maya was 3. It's been a lot of learning. His voice softened. But she's my reason for everything. Clara smiled faintly. You're a good father, she said. And I don't say that lightly. Her voice carried a warmth that surprised them both. From then on, their dynamic shifted. The long hours at work turned into shared moments of quiet understanding. She'd occasionally join Ethan for coffee during breaks, and once, when Maya had a school recital, Clara even showed up in the audience, quietly, unnoticed, but present. For the first time in years, Ethan felt seen not just as an employee, but as a person trying his best against life's odds. But just when things started feeling better, rumors began spreading in the office. Colleagues whispered that Ethan was getting special treatment. It hurt him deeply. One evening, he considered quitting altogether, tired of the judgment, tired of proving himself. When Clara found out, she called him into her office again. You can't let gossip define your worth, she said firmly. You've earned everything you've achieved here. But Ethan's frustration spilled out. I didn't ask for your help. I didn't want any of this to look like pity. Clara looked at him for a long moment before saying quietly, You're right. You didn't. You just did something no one else would have. You cared. And I'm not going to pretend to forget that just because people are uncomfortable with decency. That night, Ethan realized something important. Clara wasn't just a boss anymore. She had become someone who understood what it meant to break and rebuild, someone who, like him, was trying to start over. Weeks later, during the company's annual meeting, Clara surprised everyone by promoting Ethan to project lead. She spoke in front of the entire team, saying, Some people talk about leadership, others show it quietly when no one's watching. Ethan Cole reminded me that compassion isn't weakness, it's the strongest thing a person can have. There was a long silence before the applause began, and Ethan, humbled and overwhelmed, could barely speak. After the event, Clara found him standing outside on the terrace, watching the sunset. You know, she said softly, that night changed more than just my perspective. It reminded me that people can be good even when life isn't. He smiled, his voice steady but gentle. We all need saving sometimes. I just happened to be there when you needed it. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The city stretched out before them, golden and alive, as if it, too, had found a bit of healing in their story. Maya ran up moments later, waving a drawing she'd made of her dad helping a lady in the rain. Clara laughed, really laughed, and Ethan realized how far they had all come that night. As he tucked Maya into bed, he thought about how strange life was, how a single moment of courage could rewrite the script of someone's heart. He'd gone from being a man just surviving day to day to someone who had unknowingly taught another person what kindness truly meant. And maybe that was what life was about, not grand victories, but quiet rescues, unspoken gratitude, and the gentle way hearts begin to heal when people stop pretending to forget the good that others have done.